Okay, so as I promised, except a day later than I would have liked to have it done, we're going to be talking about Cassidy's magnetic grenade. In particular, why they designed it in the way that they did, and why it ended up not working out in the way that they intended it for. So Overwatch 1, we have Cassidy, right? He has flashbang, very cool ability. He hits you with it, takes away all your movement, all of your control, everything. All of it's gone. Now this is intended to make him good as a duelist, and especially be good against very mobile characters, since by hitting them with flashbang, he can freeze them and be able to follow up with an easy headshot to kill them. Or a fan the hammer in most cases. Fan the hammer usually did the job just as good. But then in Overwatch 2, as I mentioned in the last video, Blizzard decided to change their approach to crowd control within the game. They wanted there to be less crowd control because a lot of crowd control ended up just being thrown against tanks and making tank a very not that fun role to play as. So when moving to a 5v5 format, Blizzard decided that only tanks would be allowed to get crowd control, with the exception of Ana. For some reason, Ana got to keep Sleep Dart, but Brigitte got the stun removed from Seal to Bass. Cassidy had Flashbang completely reworked into the magnetic grenade that we have now in Overwatch 2. And magnetic grenade was essentially meant to function as a new version of the stun and then headshot combo, where you'd stun someone with flashbang, headshot them for 140 damage, and then you could follow up with a body shot to try and confirm the kill. Magnetic grenade was meant to be a simplified version of that, where instead of stunning, it was just a tracking grenade that would deal 130 damage, making it so that you could follow up with a body shot to confirm the kill on a target, if you were to hit them either a little bit before or after the grenade explodes. Only for 200 HP targets though. Targets with more health were not going to die to that combo, unless you got a headshot. But I feel like the first problem with this ability is that it scales very horribly when you go up the ranks. So when I talk about scaling, I'm talking about how a character scales and how well they perform as you move up in the ranks and as you move up in player skill. So for most damage heroes, there's a natural scaling in how much damage they output that goes up as you go through the ranks. Since as you get better, people will improve their aim, they'll hit more shots, and they'll be dealing more damage overall. And this is true for abilities and basically everything. It all just will scale upwards to being more effective as players get better aim. But Magnetic Grenade kind of doesn't scale that well because of its homing properties. It's very easy to hit. It's just a free headshot in a can almost that's just on a cooldown. It didn't deal quite as much damage as a headshot did. It only dealt 130 instead of 140. But 130 is still enough to make it true that it's a combo for a magnetic grenade and a body shot to kill any 200 health hero. So this made Cassidy's magnetic grenade very strange because in the battle ranks it felt incredibly strong because it was just a free headshot on a cooldown that they could just chuck at people. And people, especially in lower ranks, don't know how to position as well as they do in higher ranks and play against something that is that strong. But then you get into higher ranks like Grandmaster, and Cassidy was actually one of the worst performing DPS in the game for the longest time. Again, Cassidy was always meant to be a duelist, to be good at taking these 1v1s and to be a good counter pick against heroes like Tracer and Genji. But the thing is that even when Cassidy was at his strongest, when he was a must pick, when he had the increased range, 225 health, the 130 damage, magnetic grenade, when he had all of that, in Grandmaster, he still had a lower win rate than Tracer and Genji. And then Cassidy had a very good win rate back then. It was not bad, but Tracer and Genji were still heavily outperforming him. So the question remains of why does an ability that homes in on players and then deals 130 damage not actually counter very fast and mobile heroes? And the answer to that is that Tracer and Genji, a lot of heroes in general, all have ways to deal with being stuck with Cassidy's magnetic grenade. Because the thing is that you're not scared of the grenade itself, you're scared of the follow-up damage that could occur around the time that the grenade explodes. Basically, Tracer has two ways that she can deal with being stuck. One, because the damage is delayed, she can just recall, and that just solves the problem right there. But even if she doesn't have recall, she can just triple blink to safety and then just let it explode and then get healed back up to by a support. Because the grenade isn't going to insta-kill you. It's just going to make it easy for the Cassidy to hit a follow-up shot and confirm the elimination. But if you can just remove yourself from the situation and wait out the explosion, then you're completely fine. The same is true for Genji. He has deflect that he can use to stall out his life for a couple of seconds. And he also has swift strike that he can use to dash out. And he also just has a double jump and faster movement than the average DPS hero. They both have very good ways that they can deal with being stuck, which just makes Cassidy's magnetic grenade not very effective at all against flankers like Tracer and Genji in particular. And a lot of other characters also have their own ways to deal with it. Reaper can just Wraith form, Mei has her ice block, Sombra can translocate out, Junkrat can jump out with trap. A lot of heroes just have a lot of mobility options that can help them get to safety if they do get hit with a Cassidy magnetic grenade, and just wait out the explosion damage and then get healed up before going back in. And that's why even when Cassidy was at his strongest point in Overwatch 2's life cycle so far, he was still losing all of these duels to Tracers and Genjis just because they do have the mobility that lets them play around being stuck with a magnetic grenade. And it's because of that that we're kind of seeing it be reworked yet again, with Season 5 coming out in a couple of days, I believe, maybe a few. I don't keep up with anything that much. Stuff just happens when it happens. But they're reworking it to add a slow effect and to also completely block movement abilities on the target that is stuck. Now, they are reducing its damage, so we'll have to see exactly how this will play out and what exactly the limitations of it are. Like, will it block all movement abilities or only specific ones? Because there are plenty of abilities that can be used for movement, but aren't strictly movement abilities. Think something like Pharah's Concussion Blast or Junkrat's Concussion Mine, Ass's Coach Gun. All of these are abilities that can be used for movement, but they also have another function in dealing damage or knocking back opponents. The other thing is, how long will they have the duration be? And also the slow effect as well, because they said it will have a slow attached to it as well. So what will the slow be? Will it be like a 50% slow like Mei's currently is? Well, they're reworking Mei as well, but actually Mei's isn't even 50, it's 40%. At least prior to how they're redoing Mei's primary. Mei's primary does a 40% slow on any target that it hits. So it's just kind of the question of, will they make it like a 10% slow just to make them a bit easier to hit? Or will it be something more drastic like a 50% slow that would be a massive problem if you get stuck with it? Because I do think it's a very interesting idea to change that would actually make magnetic grenade scale up a bit better, because if they make the grenade only deal 60 damage, then it would still confirm a kill if you get a headshot on the slowed down target, but it won't confirm a kill if you get a body shot. So this will naturally make it scale a bit better as you get up into higher ranks, as players are more consistently able to hit that headshot on the target that's stuck with Cassidy's new magnetic grenade. But yeah, I am excited to see these new changes and to play around with them, because it is a very unique effect, and I kind of wonder if they could do more with it in the future depending on how well it is received. Because it's definitely something I feel like will have to be balanced a bit more, because I don't think Blizzard knows anything about their own game at this point, considering that they actually thought that wife lever was balanced. So we'll have to see what the community thinks. I do think that lowering the damage to 60 would at least make magnetic grenade feel more fair with how it scales as you go up in rank, because it was kind of difficult for a lot of metal ranked players to deal with a character that can just kind of throw out 140 damage at them on a cooldown, especially since it'll get stuck, and then if they take any other damage, or if they had taken damage previously, they're just completely dead. It's just a lot of damage for Cassidy to have access to for free on a cooldown. But yeah, that's it for this video. I just wanted to talk a bit about Cassidy's magnetic grenade and why it didn't quite perform as Blizzard wanted it to, because I feel like it's an interesting case in that you'd think that it would be effective against Genji and Tracer because of how it tracks in on people, and it's just insane because you just throw it remotely near someone, it'll just track them, follow them, and stick. But the thing is that because the damage is delayed, a lot of these carriers have ways that they can deal with being stuck, especially if you know the different maps and where you could hide for cover, or if you just always have recall ready and can react in time to just recall out of it, or dash to safety, or deflect your way out of a situation. It's surprisingly ineffective against some of these characters. It still is good, but it's just for a cooldown that is basically Cassidy's entire value. Having it be dealt with so easily doesn't exactly give him a good matchup against these heroes. So yeah, that's it, and until next time, see ya.